Test recording for Professor Finnley. Ow! Welcome to the Brisbane Sci-Fi Theatre Festival. Today we have two programs for you, called The Adventures of Professor Finnley and Serial Killer. Let's begin with the first one, shall we? I didn't get the video ready.
That's fine. Just say that the video plays.
Video plays? Last time on The Adventures of Professor Finnley, we found our favourite professor in search of the blue bumble-crested Septiceratops, an elusive creature never before seen by man, woman, or humankind. Despite his daring efforts, the professor ended up unsuccessful. But now, through a great amount of determination, we continue his search. Filmed before a live studio audience. We see the professor deep in thought. He usually comes into the class addressing his students straight away. There must be something on his mind. Professor? Professor! You have a class to teach!
Hello there, class! Well, today I'm once again setting out on another expedition to find the elusive blue bumble-crested Septiceratops. The funding! Yes, that's right, the funding. I cannot forget about the funding. Despite our failure the last time, we have been lucky enough to be funded by the Brisbane Sci-Fi Theatre Festival. And through this funding, we are going to set out on another expedition to find this mysterious creature. My research has found that it is no longer residing in Papua New Guinea, but rather, for some peculiar reason, it has made its way south to the islands of New Zealand. So, what do we know about this creature? Well, from our previous adventure, we know that one of its favourite snacks is that of the waterberry, peculiar berry, residing like the creature near bodies of water, like rivers and swimming pools. We also know what its footprints look like, and that its movement on land is similar to that of a hippopotamus amphibius, or hippopotamus for short. A bit of a waddle, but where they've clocked the T-Rex at 32 miles per hour, I've clocked the Septiceratops at 48 kilometers per hour. And yet, it has mysteriously migrated to the southern island of New Zealand, somewhere inland from the south of Dunedin, inland from the thing of Dunedin. And I don't know why. Does it have something to do with a changing diet? Mysterious ancestral nesting grounds? Or perhaps a change in climate? Now, for this expedition, we're going to need a number of things, which thankfully will be provided through the funding. Let's see, I'm going to need rations, a tent, a new assistant, a trusty whip, a helicopter, wait, my very own satellite!
This episode is not actually funded by the Brisbane Sci-Fi Theatre Festival. However, the Brisbane Sci-Fi Theatre Festival can provide a very special thing called theatre magic. And through the power of theatre magic, we can skip straight to the heart of the adventure!
We're here. Yes, we are. Excellent. Good. Indeed. Right. Stupendous. Oh, golly gosh.
Here we find our favourite professor in the heart of the rainforest. They have been travelling no longer than a platypus reading the newspaper, and after much exploration come across a small clearing where the trees give way to reveal a
clue!
Yes, a clue.
I believe it's a footprint.
So you believe or you know?
I'm never wrong.
So you're right.
Yes, I'm alright.
He is not alright.
So what is it, Professor?
Give me a moment. Jody, find somewhere to set up camp. I'll stay here and keep watch.
It's Jerry.
Whenever you're ready, Jody.
Okay.
Feel the history, like you're being transported back in time. Did you know, until very recently, New Zealand was home to no native land mammal species? Being an isolated island at the time of the dinosaurs, the closest thing was the closest creature is a bat that's learned to walk. In fact, most of New Zealand's native terrestrial biomass are birds that flew over and lost their flight. The largest of which, reaching 3.5 meters high, are the moa, or as I like to call them, the dinolithiforms. After millions of years of isolation, these marvelous creatures went extinct in a matter of only 100 years. Humanity. We have a significant impact on the environment around us. In this case, extinction was the result of overhunting. But in today's world, creatures and entire ecosystems are at risk due to different side effects of our mere presence. I've seen firsthand the effect a changing climate can have on a species. It could have something to do with why this creature has made such a strange journey. This footprint is undeniable proof that we are on the right track, but actually it's the left. What's amazing about this find is that you can see the webbing just further proving its swimming ability. And also you can see the shape of its two toes in exquisite detail.
The professor continues to talk to himself for no longer than a giraffe's neck on a rainy day. But after such a long day's travel and with the sun hitting just right, the professor waits for Jerry's return. And here he is now.
It's done! No! Come on, Professor, we gotta go.
Right.
Recording. Lovely. So we finally arrived in the uncharted land of New Zealand. Geraldine
It's Jerry.
has just finished setting up
Right.
camp, and I'm full of beans, ready to be back in the wild on another adventure. Now, probably wondering, Professor, I don't see a helicopter. I am saddened to say that your eyes do not deceive you. I did not get my helicopter. Or my satellite. Or even my whip. However, I did get my new assistant. Say hello, Geraldine.
Hello.
Which reminds me. Our first piece of evidence. One of the creature's tracks. We found it heading south-northeast. Now, I deduce that if we head in a south-northeasterly direction, we shall come across a body of water. And perhaps even find some of the peculiar berries. It has to eat something after all. Therefore, our plan shall be to leave at dawn and locate these berries, and hopefully in time the creature won't be far behind. What do we ahead? Either way, we shall find it.
And that, class, is why the paraleech cannot be seen by the naked eye. Look, over there. The peculiar berry. The primary food source of the blue bumble-crested Septiceratops. Where if you could take a closer look. The rapids! The blimmin' rapids again.
What are we going to do, sir?
Well, what could we do? If I had my trusty whip. I didn't receive my whip. What about the helicopter they lent me?
Right.
Oh, that's right. I didn't receive that either. Geraldine.
Yes,
way, Geraldine. Now, we'll have to be quick, Geraldine, so we don't lose it in this cave.
Right, sir, but it looks like it's getting dark. Lights go out.
Well, would you look at that?
That's just it, sir. I can't.
Right. Grab the lantern for me. Dead end.
Also,
Dead end. Let's check up here.
okay, sir. Oh, I don't see much. Wait. Is that a bat?
Of course, it must have crawled under here somehow. Do you see any signs of the creature?
No, sir. I was following you. Plus, it's still quite dark in here, so I was really looking ahead of me.
Right, well, you are meant to be filming me. So turn the camera onto me, I've got something to say. It attracts the creature into this cave. The question is, why would it come here? What reason would it want to come somewhere so damp and isolated? There are no signs of intelligent life anywhere.
Professor,
Yes, Geraldine?
have we just discovered something amazing?
I believe we have.
What could it be?
That's exactly what we've been looking for.
Really, Professor? I mean, I shouldn't judge your expertise. You are the expert.
Yes, I am the expert. I think we're getting closer to the truth.
It's almost like I can touch it.
I know what you mean, Geraldine. It's like it's calling out to me. I know. Breathtaking, isn't it? This is truly a marvelous find. The egg of the blue bumble-crested Septiceratops. Does this mean that there are more of them now? Must have triggered a trap or some kind that's causing the cave to collapse. Right, the camera.
Jump! Jump! Duck! Left! Left! Right! Jump! Duck! Jump right turn!
Jump right turn!
Jump right turn!
Mighty finding dog.
Jump sequence!
What the hell is that? Don't worry about it, this is the narrator.
Right foot forward. Right foot right. Left foot forward. Left foot back. Jump out. Left foot back. Jump in. Right foot forward. Left foot left. Good job. You've completed the dance sequence.
Look, I got set! No, my boy!
Does your adventuring party get lost all too often? Try our new and improved gaslight lanterns. It's the go-to product for all explorers.
I used it to discover conclusive evidence of the blue bumble Septiceratops' existence. Something I've been searching for my entire life. Before I dropped it.
Well, I discovered first proof of an ancient alien civilization.
Wait, what?
Brought to you by the high needle light gaslight lanterns, powered by gas.
And this concludes another day of our adventure. I have never been so close to the creature. So close to conclusive evidence. Upon reflection, I realize now that the egg likely never did hatch. The patterning of the cracks does not coincide with what one would expect from a child breaking its way out. No. Something broke its way in. Picked it clean. I realize now that if there is truly only one of its kind, and given my difficulty in tracking it, doesn't make sense, then therefore it must reproduce through parthenogenesis. That is, that only one member of a species is needed for reproduction. And evidently the Septiceratops only produce one egg at a time. This would explain why I've only ever found one of it. It also means she might not have another one for a while. If ever. But why would she keep coming back here?
Well, she's a mother, right?
Yes.
And mothers love their children.
Yes.
Well, I read that elephants will care for their dead child
As if it
were
was still alive. Oh. The poor girl's in mourning. She's bringing the peculiar berries here for her child. Her dead child. At least she might be able to move on now that the cave has collapsed. She's been alone her entire life. And now she's alone again. No, I'm not standing for it.
Wait, Professor, where are you going?
I have to find her.
Sir, you can't.
I must.
But they'll cut the funding. Here.
This storm poses too much of a danger. It is highly unusual and unprecedented at this time of year. And even though the Septiceratops will be at just as much of a risk in her current state, I cannot afford to lose this funding. We shall set out as soon as it clears up in the morning. I only hope it will not be too late.
After the storm, the professor and his assistant examine the damage caused to the campsite. And the professor says, "What a mess."
What do we do now, Professor?
We find her.
Shall I get the camera?
There's no time for that.
Right.
Let's go.
The professor and Jerry begin their search through their notes, examining all their records and evidence of where the creature has been to determine where it might be now. They retrace their steps, going back to the cave-in site, finding all signs of entry sealed off by the rubble. And then they follow back down to the rapids, looking at all the peculiar berries and seeing that none of them have been discerningly touched since the previous day. They finally go to the site of the original footprint they found and see that any trace had been washed away in the storm.
Well, if it hasn't returned here, then it has to have gone somewhere else. Jody, let me see the map.
In a moment of inspiration, the professor goes out searching every nook and cranny for the creature and where it might have run to for safety. All day they search high and low until the angry old lion, the sun, looked back once and then growled and went switching his tail towards the cool shades of the Sierras. Meanwhile, the professor grows increasingly frustrated and slowly, for the the first time in his life, he begins to lose hope.
I know what you're going to say, Professor. But I think it's time we head home.
You're right. I agree.
But it's getting late, so... Sorry. Did I hear that right, Professor?
There's no point anymore. This entire expedition has been a failure. I give up.
You can't just give up. You are Professor Finnley. The main thing you are known for is refusing to give up.
Or maybe you don't know me well enough.
Fine. Then let's go.
You go on ahead, Geraldine. I need a moment alone.
I'm not leaving you out here alone.
God damn it, Jerry! Jerry, please. Go pack up the cab. Leaving me. My life's work. Gone. All I ever wanted to do was make some profound discovery. Prove to the world that there's so much more that we do not know. So much more to still be learned from the natural world. Jerry's right. I never give up. I've always believed that even if I had no solid physical evidence, that there would always be a chance. The blue bumble-crested Ceratops is my magnum opus. A discovery that would put me on the map of my field. Not that often it is my own mistakes, oversights even that get in my way. Not that my assistants are never at fault. I had that one assistant a long time ago. Always human error to some degree. Take that cave, for instance. And yet the storm. We should have seen it coming. Maybe that too was caused by us somehow. I fear, deep down, that she is in trouble. Being the top expert in Ceratops behavior, she would have run scared from the cave. The storm would have frightened her even more so, driven her to a place where she would feel safe. A river, perhaps. Flash flooding that occurred last night, our campsite barely escaping its wrath, would have, no matter how well she can swim, been too much for the old girl. If she got caught in too strong a current, she would have been pulled under, struck over and over by debris, tumbled and tossed into rocks and fallen trees. Nature's wrath, cruel and rebellious. She could have been washed up anywhere, and I don't think I'll ever get another chance to see her, even one last time. Do you hear that? Be alone anymore. After that, I went back to camp. Jerry had everything packed, ready to head home. He asked me what was wrong, and I told him what had happened. I don't know if he believed me or not, but it didn't matter, for as much as I had lost, seeing my life's work fade away before me, I couldn't have asked for more than to be with her in her final moments. A part of me wanted to find a way to get her back home, but seeing her there, I could tell even taking a quill off her body would have been too disrespectful. She deserved better, so I let her go. If you remember what I said at the beginning of this lecture, there were a few theories as to why the girl might have made such a journey. A lack of food, an ancestral nesting ground, or a changing climate. Any of these could be correct. We may never ahead and gave her an official name anyway. The Septiceratops, seven-horned face, Lebelophia, blue bumble crest. So with that, we conclude today's class. Hope to see you all next time on my next great adventure.